Hi everyone, this is Zita from Happy Free Spirit. I want to start with an interesting story today. You can take it as a truth, or you can take it as a myth, or you can take it as something that's totally made up. But the story goes like this. It takes us back into an ancient Egypt. And at the time when there were slaves and king and priests. Everybody thinks right now in history that the Pharaoh was the most powerful person. But the truth is that the real power, the people that are really holding the real power were the main priests. These priests were not like the priests that we know right now, that go around and preach. They had a special connection with the ruler. And then they were meditating a lot. They're basically just sitting and observing things. They didn't talk that much. They didn't strive for riches. They were just sitting and basically observing and thinking, spending a lot of time with their thoughts. And this one priest was sitting on like a higher platform watching this city being built. And he's watching all the slaves as they bring the stones into the city. And for about 10 or 20 slaves, there was one guard who was keeping them in line, right? So they keep moving. And as he's sitting there and watching, he notices this one slave whose look was a little bit different. He noticed the slave looking at him, and he saw something different in his eyes. He saw that that man was thinking, that man had an idea, and he wanted to find out what it was. So during the night, he went into the slave quarters dressed as a slave, and he lay down next to this slave. And sure enough, this slave started telling him, hey man, this is what I've been thinking. We are in majority, all of us slaves. There is only one guard for 10 or 20 of us. We can easily overpower them and then become free and run away and then kill everyone. And the priest was just listening to him, saying, wow, this is a great idea. Yeah, you're right, we can easily do that. And so he was asked, and what are you going to do then? Oh yeah, well, I'm going to kill the Pharaoh, I'm going to kill everyone. And he's like, and what are you going to do with the priests? And he's like, nah, they seem harmless enough. I'm not going to do anything with them. They can just keep on praising. The next day, the priest goes back into his sitting position, the thinking position, right? The place where he was watching and observing things. And he gets an idea. And he went and told this idea to the Pharaoh and everyone else. And after a little bit of arguing, he cut his point across, and the Pharaoh agreed to what was being said. And this was his proposal. He realized that as long as there are slaves, there is always going to be someone who will come and rebel against it. There's always going to be someone who will want to disrupt this order. And it's very hard to keep it going. It's actually very expensive to keeping the guards and to keeping the people in line and to keep them working. They get tired and then they don't want to work and then they get sick and they have to take care of them. So he proposed that they free all the slaves and they give a penny to each slave who brings a stone into the city. That they will actually save money. They won't have to keep as many guards, and the slaves will live in their own places. They won't have to keep them. They won't have to feed them, and they won't have to take care of anything else. So the Pharaoh agreed, and this was established. All the slaves were freed, and this was the most wonderful time in their lives. And priest went on, sitting on his platform, watching and observing the work. And what was happening, he just couldn't believe his eyes. People were where before everyone was just walking slowly. Now the people were running with stones. They thought of devices to bring like 5 or 10 stones at once and carry them over. They even established kind of like there were people who would refresh them so they can work harder. If someone couldn't come to work, his wife would come and they would work even harder so they get more and more money, right? And they would work so hard, and they would establish all these like side businesses, refreshments, someone who would take care of their health, and you see how this draws a picture of today's world. And this is the world we live in right now. A world where we are just chasing after this money. But we are still not free. We have an illusion that we are free men. That slave with that thinking was very right. There is so much power if we just unite together. If we just show each other love, if we show each other understanding for one another, if we try to work together. All the evil in the world starts, I'm sorry, I have to say it, but it starts from religion and ideology, and from the priests that preach separation, that preach that those others are not the same as us. That is actually what is going on with ISIS. They preach separation. It starts from ideology. It never, ever starts from regular people.